Have you ever found yourself staring at the ceiling long after you've turned out the light, wondering why sleep used to come so easily, but now it seems to slip just out of reach? Maybe you drift off, only to wake up an hour or two later, wide-eyed in the darkness, your thoughts racing through old memories or tomorrow's to-do list. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. Getting good sleep becomes more challenging as we get older, and yet it's one of the most important things we need to feel well, stay sharp, and enjoy our days. The truth is, the way we sleep changes with age. It's not just about getting fewer hours, it's about the quality of those hours. You might be getting enough time in bed, but waking up still feeling drained or stiff or mentally foggy. And that's frustrating, especially when your energy and comfort during the day rely so heavily on how well you rested the night before. Sleep is like the body's overnight reset button. It's when your cells repair, your brain clears out clutter, and your immune system recharges. But when that reset is interrupted night after night, your whole system starts to feel a bit off. That's why today we're going to talk about how to sleep better, not by trying to force it, but by understanding what your body and mind truly need to settle into deeper, more peaceful rest. And the good news is better sleep doesn't have to mean taking pills or following a strict routine. Sometimes it just takes the right shifts in your environment, your habits, or your mindset. Let's start with something simple but often overlooked, your light exposure during the day. Most people don't realize that the amount of natural light you get when the sun is up directly affects how well you sleep once it goes down. The body has an internal rhythm that depends on light to stay balanced. When you're exposed to bright light during the day, especially in the morning, your brain gets a clear message that it's time to be awake and alert. That same rhythm then helps your body wind down later when it's dark. But when you spend most of the day indoors with dim or artificial lighting, your system gets confused. You might find yourself feeling sleepy too early or wide awake at the wrong time. Even if you're not someone who spends much time outside, you can still take advantage of this. Sitting by a window, stepping out onto the porch for your morning tea, or taking a walk around a block after breakfast can all help reset that rhythm. You don't have to be in direct sun or spend hours outdoors. Just giving your eyes and brain that exposure to natural daylight helps your body know when to wake up and when to start winding down. Another thing that often interferes with sleep is an overly busy mind. It's common, especially in our later years, to find that quiet hours invite all kinds of thoughts to bubble up. You start thinking about people you haven't spoken to in years, things you wish you had done differently, or worries about health, family, or the future. That quiet space, where you used to find peace, suddenly becomes a place of noise. This is where a little structure can make a big difference. Setting aside time earlier in the evening to gently unload those thoughts can help. You might sit down with a notebook and write out anything that's been sitting heavy on your heart or going around in circles in your head. You don't need to write a novel or even full sentences. Just the act of putting it down can give your mind permission to let go of it for the night. Some people call this a mental download, and it really does help create a sense of closure for the day. Now, let's talk about the actual space where you sleep. Think about your bedroom right now. Is it a place that feels like a sanctuary, or is it a catch-all for clutter, screens, and noise? You don't need a complete makeover to turn your space into a restful retreat. Sometimes it's as simple as making your bed with soft, breathable sheets, or clearing off the nightstand so it feels tidy and calm, or turning off overhead lights and using a small lamp instead. The way your room feels when you walk into it at the end of the day sends a message to your brain, either that it's time to rest or that it's just another busy, distracting space. And while we're on the subject of space, temperature matters more than most people think. As we get older, our bodies don't regulate temperature as efficiently, and that can mean waking up too hot or too cold without even realizing why we can't stay asleep. Making sure your room is on the cooler side, not freezing, just comfortably cool, can help you stay asleep longer. A fan, breathable pajamas, or even adjusting your covers can make a noticeable difference. When you combine the right lighting during the day, a calming mental wind down in the evening, and a bedroom that truly supports rest, you're giving yourself the foundation for deeper, more healing sleep. These aren't quick fixes, and they're not meant to be. They're small changes that respect the natural rhythm your body wants to follow. And once your body starts recognizing those cues again, light, calm, comfort, it begins to respond, gently and gradually, with longer stretches of sleep, fewer wake-ups, and mornings that feel just a little brighter. There's something incredibly frustrating about lying in bed, fully aware of how tired you are, yet unable to drift off. You watch the minutes on the clock crawl by, trying to convince your mind to slow down and your body to let go. When this happens often enough, you begin to dread bedtime altogether, as if it's some nightly test you keep failing. And that dread, as harmless as it might seem at first, can actually make sleep even harder to find. What many people don't realize is how much your thoughts about sleep shape your experience with it. If you go to bed expecting to toss and turn, chances are you will. It's like your mind is already writing the script for the night before you've even pulled up the covers. That's why shifting how you approach sleep, not just physically, but mentally, becomes so important. Instead of focusing on whether or not you'll fall asleep, you can begin to focus on simply resting. Giving yourself permission to rest, without the pressure of drifting off right away, helps break the tension that often keeps sleep at bay. One thing that often gets overlooked is the role of consistency. The human body thrives on rhythm, especially when it comes to sleep. Going to bed at a different time every night, even if it's just by an hour or two, throws off the natural signals that help your body know when to wind down. Over time, this irregularity can create confusion for your internal clock, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep. Waking up around the same time each morning, even on weekends or days you don't have plans, helps create a sense of structure that your body can rely on. That steady rhythm builds trust between your habits and your sleep patterns. Beyond timing, what you do in the hour or two before bed can set the tone for the entire night. We live in a world full of screens, and the glow from phones, televisions, and tablets can sneakily delay the production of melatonin, the hormone that signals your brain it's time to sleep. That blue light, while barely noticeable to the eye, tricks your body into thinking it's still daytime. Even if you feel tired, your brain doesn't get the full message that it's time to switch gears. Creating some space between screen time and bedtime gives your body a chance to shift naturally into a sleep-ready state. Replacing that time with something quiet, like listening to soft music, flipping through a magazine, or simply dimming the lights and sitting quietly, can be enough to make a difference. Food and drink habits, particularly in the evening, also carry more weight than most people think. While a warm cup of tea or a small snack might seem harmless, certain choices can stir your system in ways that delay rest. Caffeine, even in small amounts or consumed earlier in the day, can linger longer in the body than expected, especially as our metabolism slows with age. Similarly, alcohol might make you feel drowsy at first, but it tends to disrupt the deeper stages of sleep later in the night, causing you to wake up without knowing why. Paying attention to how your body reacts to what you eat and drink, especially after dinner, can reveal patterns that help or hinder your sleep. Some people find they sleep better after a lighter evening meal, while others benefit from a bit of protein to prevent waking from hunger in the middle of the night. Tuning into your personal rhythms and making gentle adjustments based on what truly supports your rest can empower you to feel more in control, even when your sleep has felt unpredictable. Movement throughout the day also plays a subtle yet important role in how well you sleep at night. It's not about exercise in the traditional sense, but about how much your body has had the chance to stretch, circulate, and release tension. When you've been relatively still all day, whether from sitting too long or taking it easy because of discomfort, your body doesn't feel as ready to wind down. It's almost as if your energy has nowhere to go. Even something as simple as a relaxed walk in the early evening or some gentle range of motion movements before dinner can create a sense of ease in your body that carries into bedtime. It's not about exhausting yourself. It's about giving your muscles and joints the opportunity to move in a way that feels natural and unforced. That sense of physical completion, like your body has had its chance to express itself for the day, invites a kind of inner stillness that helps sleep come more freely. There's also something to be said about emotional closure. During the day, we often carry little frustrations or unfinished thoughts that quietly follow us into the evening. And when we don't have a way to process or release them, they pile up. They show up in restless dreams, midnight wake-ups, or that feeling of unease that creeps in once the house goes quiet. One of the gentlest ways to create emotional closure is through simple reflection. Looking back on your day and finding even one thing that brought you a smile, a moment of peace, or a feeling of gratitude can shift your perspective from what's wrong to what's right. This isn't about pretending everything's perfect. It's about choosing to close the day on a note that soothes rather than stirs. When your final thoughts before sleep are centered around peace, appreciation, or calm, your body often follows that lead. Sleep isn't just something that happens when the lights go out. It's something we prepare for all day long, through our habits, our choices, and the way we carry our minds and bodies through the hours. When you start to see sleep as a reflection of your whole day, not just your bedtime routine, you open the door to a deeper, more restful kind of rest. There's a quiet kind of magic that happens when your body is fully at rest. Not just lying still, but truly letting go. Muscles soften, breath steady, mind settled into that gentle rhythm that only sleep can bring. For many people in their later years, that kind of rest feels like a memory, something that used to come easily but now feels out of reach. And when the nights are restless, the days begin to feel heavier, slower, and harder to enjoy. But the journey back to deeper, more satisfying sleep is not only possible, it's also filled with opportunities to reconnect with your own sense of balance and ease. One of the most overlooked contributors to sleep difficulty is noise. Not just the obvious kind, like traffic or loud neighbors, but the subtle, persistent sounds that blend into the background and continue to stimulate the brain even while your body tries to shut down. The hum of an appliance, the ticking of a wall clock, or the faint buzz of electronics can be more disruptive than they seem. Sound, even when low, sends signals to the nervous system that say, stay alert. The solution isn't silence, but rather creating a soundscape that supports rest. Something steady, predictable, and calming. A soft fan, the gentle rush of white noise, or even recordings of waves or rainfall can create a buffer that shields your sleep from interruptions. The brain, instead of listening for random changes in the environment, settles into the consistency of that soothing sound. Smell can also serve as a powerful cue for relaxation. Certain natural scents, when used intentionally, help calm the nervous system and support the body's shift into rest mode. A hint of lavender on your pillow, the soft aroma of chamomile from a warm cup nearby, or even the scent of clean sheets can send signals that it's time to let go of the day. These sensory cues might seem small, but they work in harmony with your body's instinct to respond to comfort and familiarity. The more you associate certain smells with bedtime, the more your body learns to follow that pattern. The environment you sleep in doesn't only influence how you feel at night, it also affects how your body responds to the act of waking up. Morning routines, although not part of the sleep process itself, can have a lasting impact on how well you rest the next night. When you wake up slowly, with intention, giving your body time to adjust before jumping into the day, you create a rhythm of respect. Waking gently, perhaps with a stretch, a soft light, and a moment to breathe, sends the message that your body matters. That message carries into the day and builds a foundation for the night to come. It's also worth exploring how deeply our emotions shape our rest. A day filled with unresolved tension, even the kind that doesn't feel intense in the moment, can linger in the body long after the sun sets. Whether it's something someone said, a memory that resurfaced, or a decision you're still unsure about, those emotional threads have a way of tightening the mind and body just enough to interfere with sleep. Having a space to gently release those emotions, not fix them, just release them, can create more room inside you to rest. That space might look like prayer, quiet reflection, or even softly speaking your worries aloud to no one in particular. It's about giving your feelings somewhere to go, so they don't settle in for the night alongside you. In the later years of life, many people begin to spend more time at home and often more time alone. This slower pace, while peaceful in many ways, can lead to less physical and social stimulation during the day. That gentle quiet is soothing during the afternoon, but it can make the contrast between day and night less distinct. When your mind and body haven't had enough to engage with, sleep can feel less earned, less natural. Adding even just a little more mental stimulation to your day, like reading a chapter of a new book, working on a puzzle, or chatting with a neighbor, creates a sense of mental activity that helps define the line between wakefulness and rest. It's not about being busy, but about giving your brain the engagement it craves in healthy, manageable ways. There's also something powerful in simplicity. Too often, when sleep becomes a struggle, we begin layering on more and more solutions, trying every remedy, following endless advice, hoping that one change will be the magic answer. But the act of chasing sleep too intensely can make it feel even more elusive. Sometimes the best thing you can do is step back and return to the basics. Remembering that your body is not broken. It's doing what it knows how to do, trying to protect you, trying to find its own sense of rhythm. Trusting that your body, given the right support and enough patience, is capable of finding its way back to rest. Even the act of accepting a less than perfect night's sleep can shift your experience. Not every night will be ideal. Some nights you'll wake up. Some nights your thoughts will linger longer than you'd like. But approaching those nights with softness instead of judgment can ease the pressure that makes things worse. Resting without resentment, lying there without panic, even just breathing through the wakeful moments without fear, helps you stay grounded. And that sense of inner calm, becomes your greatest tool. The relationship you have with sleep changes throughout life. It evolves with your needs, your experiences, your body. In your senior years, that relationship may feel more delicate, but it can also become more intentional, more respectful. When you stop expecting sleep to happen exactly as it once did, and start learning what helps your body feel safe and cared for now, you open the door to a different kind of rest. One that's softer, slower, but still deeply nourishing. Somewhere along the journey of aging, the nights begin to feel a little longer. Time seems to stretch, and quiet hours are filled with thoughts, sensations, and memories that never used to visit so late. Sleep becomes more than just rest. It turns into something you long for, something that feels just out of reach. And when that longing grows, it can create a quiet sense of frustration that seeps into the rest of your life. But the truth is, this chapter, the one you're in right now, still holds the power to bring you deep, meaningful rest. It just asks you to listen differently. One place that often goes unexplored is the connection between creativity and rest. Not the kind of creativity that demands perfection or performance, but the gentle, private kind. Doodling in a notebook, humming a song while you tidy the room, arranging flowers, or even telling a story aloud to yourself, these small acts engage a different part of your brain. They tap into a rhythm that's unhurried and natural, one that can carry over into the way your body prepares for sleep. You don't need to be an artist or a musician. You only need to be open to the idea that creative expression helps release something unspoken. That release, subtle as it may seem, makes space for rest to come more easily. Another tender but powerful part of your sleep journey may involve how you speak to yourself about aging. Many people begin to feel that their sleep troubles are just another sign of decline, another reminder that their body isn't what it used to be. That belief alone can build a wall between you and your ability to rest. What if instead you looked at these changes not as losses, but as shifts? Your body isn't broken. It's changing, adapting, asking for something different than it once needed. When you offer yourself kindness in the form of acceptance, you stop fighting with the night. You begin to meet it with more understanding, and in return, it often softens. There's something profoundly calming about routine, not in the strict sense of a checklist, but in the sense of rhythm. When your evenings have a predictable flow, your mind and body start to respond in kind. Lighting a candle at the same time each night, playing a favorite song as the sun goes down, or brushing your hair slowly before bed can turn ordinary moments into rituals. These rituals aren't about the tasks themselves, but about what they symbolize, a gradual unwinding, a cue to your system that it's time to surrender the day. Touch also plays a quiet but important role. In the absence of physical connection, many people begin to feel a little more distant from their own bodies. Reintroducing touch in a nurturing way, such as applying lotion to your hands with care, pressing your feet into the mattress as you settle in, or wrapping yourself in a soft blanket, creates a sense of safety. That physical grounding, that gentle return to the present moment, helps coax the body into stillness. And stillness, as we know, is the doorway through which sleep enters. If faith or spirituality is part of your life, this too can offer great comfort during sleepless stretches. Whether it's silent prayer, reflecting on a passage that brings peace, or simply speaking words of reassurance to something greater than yourself, that act of surrender can lift the weight of anxiety. It doesn't matter what form it takes, it's the feeling of being held, even in your quietest moments, that helps dissolve the tension that keeps sleep away. Some people find their deepest rest not in the night itself, but in knowing that rest is allowed to come in many forms. Maybe it's a slow afternoon nap in the sunlight. Maybe it's 10 minutes of eyes closed stillness after lunch. Sleep doesn't always have to look like 8 perfect hours. It can be scattered across the day in gentle patches, adding up to something whole. When you stop measuring your rest against what used to be and begin embracing the moments that still come with ease, you begin to recover a sense of peace. Even companionship, when approached with care, can support your rest. A short phone call in the evening, not about anything urgent, but just to connect, can clear out some of the emotional noise that tends to build up. Speaking out loud to someone you trust, even just to share how your day went or what you're feeling, helps ease the mind. It's not the solving of problems that creates peace, it's the simple act of being heard. And when your mind feels heard, it stops shouting when the lights go out. Ultimately, sleep is a kind of relationship. It changes as you change. It responds to how you treat yourself, how you care for your body, how you manage your days. The most beautiful part is that this relationship can improve, even now. It's not too late, and you're not too far gone. Every breath you take with intention, every choice you make to rest instead of rush, every moment of softness you allow yourself, these things rebuild trust between you and sleep. So if your nights have been difficult lately, I hope you'll remember this. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to turn off the world, even if just for a little while. You've earned that stillness. And whether you sleep for 5 hours or 10, whether you wake once or not at all, you're still worthy of rest, of care, of comfort. If anything in this message resonated with you, I invite you to share your experience in the comments. You never know who might be reading and feeling just like you. And if you're on a journey to feel better, sleep deeper, and live lighter, you're warmly welcome to subscribe. We're building something special here, a space to learn, grow, and heal together. Here's to peaceful nights, lighter mornings, and the comfort of knowing that your best rest may still be ahead.